Alright, so we've reached the halfway point of this episode. Now, some of you are probably wondering, Joshua, why in the world is that your favorite part of this episode? I don't know. For some reason, I just thought that was too cute. Just Harriet letting loose and bursting into her own little silly dances and encouraging everybody to try something different. I mean, it is a little bit... No, not a little bit. Very risky and scary that Harriet is trying to start a revolution right in the middle of this really elegant dancing school. But I totally get how Harriet feels. I mean, in 64, it must have been really tough being a girl growing up in those days, especially in the early 60s, because everybody expected boys and girls to do things a certain way, and not many people realized that girls were capable of being good leaders. They always expected girls to follow and boys to lead. And it was really exciting there for a moment seeing Harriet make an effort to change something. Like, for a minute there, I thought something was really going to happen. Like, she was going to get all the kids to start goofing off and being silly and dancing whichever way they want against Mr. Dubois' wishes. But everybody just looked at her like she was crazy, and they weren't really either brave enough or foolish enough to do what Harriet wanted. So that was a little bit disappointing, both for me and for Harriet especially. And poor Harriet looked so sad at the end of that scene. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Will Harriet find a way to make this ridiculously boring dancing school fun? Or will she find a way to be more willing to do it right later on? And also, what about Janie? Janie seems to enjoy this dancing school now, and she no longer wants to get kicked out of it like Harriet had planned originally. So Janie and Harriet, these two best friends, are going two different directions here. So we'll see what happens next in the second half of this episode. Right now, I'm going to take a short break, give my voice a rest, and probably turn this off until tomorrow, my next recording day. It won't be tomorrow for you guys, it'll be just 1 minute, or 2 if I decide to add a little audio clip from the show. But I'm going to share with you my contact information and the little disclaimer thing and all that stuff. And very soon we'll continue episode 3 of season 1 of Harriet the Spy, Cross My Heart and Hope Not to Dance. I'll be back with more in a moment. Stay tuned. Kids TV and Me is a fan-made podcast and is not affiliated with any of the programs, production companies, or networks mentioned on the show. My primary goal of this podcast is to shine a spotlight on some of the underrated classics from my childhood, and to help you make informed decisions about your children's screen time. If you are enjoying this podcast, don't forget to leave a rating and a review. And if your podcast provider has a comment section, let me know your thoughts on the topics we've talked about today. To keep the conversation going, you can also leave me a message on Instagram at Joshua Stauffer Creations. And don't forget to check out my Substack page at joshuastauffer1.substack.com, where you can find more information on my other creative works, including my Little Joshua webcomics, and my book, Meet Zoe Richards, which is available in paperback on Amazon. Remember to always pay close attention to what your children are watching, and as always, don't be childish, but stay childlike.
Miss Welsh, you are leading, not following like young ladies are supposed to.
What? Only boys can lead? Why?
This is how it is always done, because boys are bigger and stronger.
But she's like twice as big as me.
You'll get bigger.
You haven't met my dad.
It's not fair. Girls can lead too. Come on, everybody, cut loose. There are no rules. Girls can lead, and you don't need a partner, and you don't need blisters!
Cut this nonsense immediately!
This isn't nonsense, Mr. Dubois! This is a revolution! Throw away the shackles of tradition! Express yourselves! Beth Ellen, you know you want to!
And we're back! Man, all through that break, I could not stop thinking about... Can we talk a little bit more about that scene, please? Thank you. So before the break, Harriet was at dancing school, trying to get herself and Janie kicked out of it, and she had just been confronted with the harsh reality that in ordinary ballroom dancing, usually the boys lead and girls follow, because more often than not, boys are bigger and stronger. And this does not sit well with Harriet at all, because she believes that girls can lead too. And then in kind of like an effort to rebel against the system and start a revolution against the norms of dancing school, Harriet started moving and grooving to her own little silly dance moves. And the way she was talking to the other kids about, like the way she was encouraging them to try to do their own thing and saying that girls can lead and you don't need a partner and you don't need blisters. This is a revolution, throw down the shackles of tradition and express yourself. That whole thing almost sounded like a song. I mean, it didn't really have much of a tune to it, but she almost kind of talks to the beat of the music. Almost sounded like she was like a fitness instructor or something. You know what that reminded me of? It reminded me very much of Peppermint Patty, my favorite character from Peanuts. Now, if Peppermint Patty and Harriet the Spy lived in the same universe, I'll bet the two of them would get along famously, because they both feel very much the same way about wanting to be leaders and strong, independent women. Peppermint Patty is a major athlete in the Peanuts universe. She's the captain of her baseball team. She's a great figure skater. She plays a bunch of other sports as well. And in one Peanuts special, it's Flash Beagle Charlie Brown, Peppermint Patty played the role of like a 1980s style fitness instructor, you know, kind of like Jane Fonda. And she and the other kids were all dressed up in these exercise outfits. She had a leotard and leg warmers and the headband and all the fancy stuff like that. And she sang this song called I'm in Shape as she leaded everybody in this fitness routine. And for whatever reason, when I was 10 years old, I absolutely loved that. I borrowed that video from the library every chance I got, and I would dance along with Peppermint Patty and Snoopy and all the other kids, because there were a lot of other fun songs and dances in that special as well. But the part with Peppermint Patty in gym class was my favorite. Yeah, I guess you could say that when I was a kid, Peppermint Patty was my first crush. She was the first character I ever had romantic fantasies about. And now, seeing this episode of Harriet the Spy, I can't help but think... I'm not gonna lie, if I had seen this when I was like 10 or 11 years old, I would have fallen in love with Harriet instantly. Because, I mean, think about it, if I was stuck in that dancing school and Harriet was there to try and make things a lot more fun, I would have looked at her and thought, yay, my hero! I mean, who wouldn't? Most kids at that age don't like rules either. And just seeing Harriet's let loose and she was like, forget all the rules, let's party! I mean, if this show had been around when I was a kid, and if I had seen that, I would have thought that Harriet looked like so much fun. Remember when we talked about episode 1, I said that Harriet is so stinking cute on this show? Well, this scene right here, her cuteness just amplified big time. Some people would probably disagree with me when I say that this part of this episode was one of the most adorable things I've seen in a long time, because, I mean, if she's deliberately causing a ruckus and, you know, disrupting the class and trying to break the rules and basically rebel against authority and just ignore the teacher, like some people would say, like, that's not adorable at all. She's being very naughty, like she's misbehaving. But I mean, come on, there were far worse things that Harriet could have done. I mean, if you were going to pick a way to start a revolution in a class like this, I think Harriet did the best thing she possibly could. And I wouldn't exactly say that dancing is 100% not for Harriet, because we saw her moving and grooving in episode 1 where she was listening to the radio with the song We Get Right Down to the Real Nitty Gritty. I mean, she was just dancing along the sidewalk, moving to her music, whichever way she liked, and I just love her funny little dances. Which makes me think that if she was in more like kind of like a contemporary dancing school, I think she'd have a lot more fun there. There's a comic book series that I've read called Dance Class by Becca and Crip. It's published in the United States by Paper Cuts Comics. They're actually written in French originally with the name Studio Dance. But this comic book series is about these 3 teenage girls learning how to do ballet and African dance and hip hop and just all different kinds of dances, and they have their own silly little adventures together. They have their own unique personalities. Those books are very silly and fun. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind seeing an animated series based on those books. That would be awesome. And I keep thinking that if Harriet would just hang in there for a little while, pretty soon she wouldn't have to worry so much about being a sophisticated ballroom dancer, because if you fast forward 10 years later, let's see, 64, she's 11. In 1974, she would be 21. Wouldn't it be cool to see, like, Harriet 10 years later, all grown up, getting it down at the disco? That would be epic. So yeah, it's the early 60s and things might look difficult now, but the culture's about to change for better or for worse. In her time,